sons and a miller. And the miller said, when I die, I'll have one thing for each of you. The oldest son got the miller. The middle son got the donkey, and all that was left for the youngest son was the donkey. Was me, Puss in Boots. And he said, when my brothers can make a great fortune with their things, but when you can make use your fur to make mittens, I will starve from hunger. Then I said, I spoke up. Just give me a steady bag and some boots, and you'll be pleased. So he did as I said, and he went and got me a sturdy bag and a sack, and I set some boots, and I set off. And I picked up meat on the way, and then I came upon 1,000 rabbit holes. And one not smart, I played dead, and when one not smart rabbit poked his head out of his hole and said, "No, a dead cat won't harm me." And so he hopped out onto the wee I picked up in my bag. I closed it shut and strapped it. I was so pleased with my catch, I brought it to the king. The king said, "Tell your master thank you." So the next week, I presented them to. I caught 2 partridges, and then I presented them to the king. "Tell your master thank you." And I heard in the back, when I was leaving, I heard in the background that they were going to go on a carriage ride. So I told my master, you must go to the river with me tomorrow and go to the river point where I point out to. So he did as I said, and he went to the river, and then when I heard the carriage, I yelled, "Help! Help! The Duke of Carabas is drowning!" That's the fancy name I made for my master. So he remembered me and my master, and he sent 2 guards to go save him. So and while they were saving him, I told the king the story about how the robber stole his clothes. In truth, I hid him under a rock. So he did as I said, and he went to get him some clothes from the king, the finest ones. And then the princess, he looked so handsome, the princess fell in love with him. So then he invited me and my master to go on a ride, but I said no thank you. So then I stayed one step ahead of him, and some country fellows and farmers helped me trick the king into saying the farms, the lands and orchards are owned to the Duke of Carabas. I was always one step ahead of them, so I was right at this rich ogre's castle, but really mean. And I tricked him into saying I didn't believe he could turn into a mouse. So I was so hungry, I just had to take a little nibble. But then when the king and them arrived, I said, the castle belongs to the Duke of Carabas. So then they went in. The king wanted to go in and looked around, and then there was this fine dinner waiting for him. And then the king asked for the princess and prince to be married, and they did. The king asked for the prince and my master to be married, and then they lived happily ever after.
Yay, Oliver!